when I went to see this movie, the
Boogeyman.
I got there and there was this kid who was probably like year 12 and he was sitting in the lobby with a football and he was spinning the football and tapping his legs. And he was so like edgy. I genuinely thought he was like on speed or something. I was like, are year 12 kids doing speed? I don't know.
Adderall.
And then this other girl shows up and I know she's in year 12 because her jumper said, the class of 2023. Like it was that year 12 jumper you get.
Yeah.
Year 12 being the end of high school, everybody.
Senior.
She's about to go into the big real world, and so is he. And it was like a date of some sort, like a catch-up thing. They liked each other because when he went up, he was so jazzed when he saw her. He like got up and stood up way too early because she has to walk so far. He spun his football and he's like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? And he goes to give her a hug, and he gives her a hug, and as he comes back, he like goes and like kisses her on the cheek. So fucking uncomfortable.
That's a horror movie.
And he was so, I don't know. I never had a hard time talking to girls when I was at school.
Do you mind if I kiss you on the cheek?
Yeah, but like the sporty boys, he was like walking through the bollard things to get to the thing with her, and he's like in front of us spinning his football, and he's talking, and he's turning around. He's like so like, I don't know. He was so pumped up and so jazzed up. It was,
just doesn't know what to do with that.
No.
Frustration.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So like, what do you like? So yeah, like what do you? So how like maths class was gay, wasn't it? Do you think like Mrs. Gershwin like goes home and just like sits there and is like so lame at home, huh? She's so lame. Excuse me, miss. Why do we have to learn this? When are we ever going to use this in real life? Basic multiplication, Jason? Probably a bit. Not me. I got a calculator on my phone.
It's iPhone 6, but you have iPhone 4.
iPhone 12. My parents bought it for me, but I could have bought it myself. I got heaps of money from my job.
Just in
Rebel Sport. I work at Rebel Sport.
I'm team leader.
Yeah, I get some TL shifts.
So they were in the back corner of the movie and they were driving me fucking crazy.
Just giggling and shit, or?
Yeah, just talking. It was him. She wasn't talking at all.
He just never fucking calmed down, did he?
No, he was talking through the whole thing, making jokes, and he was like laughing, and I don't know, I didn't hear a peep at her.
Yeah.
And I like to imagine she was having the worst time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't even scary. I'm not even scared. If you come over to my house, I bet I'll turn off my nightlight tonight. You don't even worry. I bet.
Imagine if he had a nightlight.
A little Elmo one. Yeah, that's just in there because when I first moved into this room, it was just there. And I guess I've never unplugged it because it's like, I don't fucking care.
It's just, I don't care about stuff like that. I don't even notice stuff like that.
How many PowerPoints do I need? Like, all my shit's over the other side of the room. Like, it just sits there and brightens my life. I don't care.
I've got my Xbox, I've got my TV. I got my TV in my own room. Like, it's not even a big deal. My parents were like, you can't have a TV. And I was like, I don't care. And then they just got me one.
Because I just like fucking cried for like 3 weeks because they wouldn't get it to me. I just like cried and like I stopped eating.
I can play them so well.
They would give me like dinner and I would sit there and then I'd wait until they put it down and then they sat down and I would just fucking throw the plate of spaghetti at the wall. It would smash into tiny little bits and I would say, you did that, mum, you bitch. If I had a television, maybe I'd be hungry.
The Boogeyman. That's the plot of the Boogeyman.
That is the plot of the Boogeyman. You would never guess how it ends.
Stephen King is the undeniable master of horror. The Shining, It, Misery. The guy can craft a terrifying tale. The Boogeyman tells the story of a family struck with grief over the loss of one of their own, and due to an unlikely paranormal chain of events, they find themselves being pursued by an entity that they can't explain. Is this movie a masterpiece of cinema? Of course not. But does it make your butthole pucker from time to time? Of course it does. And isn't that what modern horror is all about? Making buttholes pucker? 2 buttholes out of 5.
From the demented mind that brought us It and Misery comes Stephen Hawking's latest and great... Wait, it's not... That's an idea.
What?
But, I'd look away from my phone for 2 seconds and I get the name wrong.
Did you not write that?
That's Stephen... No, I wrote it, but that's... I was not thinking when I wrote it. But that would be better. You say his name 3 times and the universe expands a little bit more every time.
I don't know what you know. I've been waiting for you.
Go on.
Step into my lair.
Oh my God.
Did something just roll over your toes?
Oh God.
Or it's like they go into the Conjuring, you know, they got all those artifacts in that room. It's just a dusty electric wheelchair. Where is his chair now? Is that in the Smithsonian? There's a plot for
He's
it. Trademark.
Is he not alive?
Matt,
Is he dead?
do you pay no attention to the universe? He's dead.
Did he die? He died recently though, didn't he? Like
He
in
did.
the last few years.
Yeah.
How did he die?
They don't know. They just found his chair on the beach and next to a towel. No, I just ALS and being kind of old for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That was good. How did he die? From the disease he had.
Drink driving. All right. From the demented miners comes Stephen King's latest and greatest installment of a bag of dog shit on your front porch, but without any of the sense of urgency that it would have if it was on fire, or the neat packaging of being in a bag, or the convenience of it being at your house. I had to go to the cinema to step in this shit. Nah, it's fine. It's just fucking bland. It's curry without any spice. It's just a bunch of white rice. It's like eating a pile of white rice if the sensation of getting full was being bored. 1 grain of rice.
Out of 10.
Out of 10,000.
And they say that there's more grains of sand on the... I was trying to wrap it back around to Stephen King swimming to death, but swimming to death... Do you think they say that in the official reports? He swam to death instead of drowning?
He was hydrated to death.
What you're making me do is making me come up with answers.
You don't need to write that shit down.
That's true.
It shouldn't have even been filmed. It's so bad.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bachelors of Art. That's such a weird... that was not the energy I should have started with.
Okay.
Thank you for coming and hanging out
Do
with
it again.
us.
Do another take.
Hey, welcome to Bachelors of Art. My name is Matt. Ben's sitting
This
next to
feels very GMat podcast, though. Do we have a new vibe for the new...
It's hard to not...
We should have worked this out in like the 4 test episodes.
Because I'm just using my own vibe. It's just
Do
my
a different
vibe.
voice. Have a different voice.
Hello. Welcome to Bachelors of Art.
Can you do a James Earl Jones? You got a resonant timbre.
Is he Mufasa?
And Darth Vader.
I can't think of what his actual speaking voice is like.
Simba.
Like that?
Kind of.
Hello.
I can't do it. Now I just sound like...
Hello.
Hey, welcome to Bachelors.
Hello.
Welcome to
Simba.
Bachelors of Art. My name is Matt. Ben. If you have a good time while you're watching this episode, please do us a favor and like it. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Spotify, like it there as well. I don't know if you can, but please do it. And if you want to support the show, patreon.com/Bachelors of Art. Welcome. We're talking about the Boogeyman today.
We're talking boogie. We're talking men.
Now, I got to ask first.
And foremost.
You know what I realized when I was... Now I'm not going to pump myself up.
Go on. Do a little pump up.
I'm just good at like asking questions that get you going. As I was watching the last episode,
I just did the little stick to jab.
yeah, I feel like you're the goer. I'm the
You're the
accelerator. You're the steering wheel. No, wait, I'm the steering wheel. You're the accelerator. No,
We'll get there.
I'm the wheelchair. You're the hawking.
Okay.
I don't know.
No, I'd be the wheelchair then, because you get me going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just, there was a good flow going. And I was like, this is good. This is good. Sorry, it's episode 2 and I'm like, we're good.
We are crushing it.
No. By the way, everybody, we didn't really set this up in the first episode. There's a bunch of test episodes on Patreon if you want to get GMat. So I was sending movies to you because you have a week off and we're like, let's rack up a couple episodes. Mm-hmm. And I went to Village Cinemas or Hoyts or wherever to see what was out right now, something new that we could
local
watch.
filmery.
Yeah. And I based all of my decisions off what was under an hour and a half. And I sent you the 2 that were under an hour and a half, which was this one, The Boogeyman, and Ryan Feld. Is that what it's called? Stephen Hawking? With
See?
Nicolas Cage.
It's easy to do, isn't it?
I don't know why. That has nothing to do with
Nicolas
Stephen
Cage, Stephen Hawking.
I just had him in my brain. Anyways, I sent you those 2. But you were like, I'm at the movies or I'm seeing... why are we seeing The Boogeyman? You just interested?
No. This was like the next day after you sent it. I just saw what was on right now. And the Nicolas Cage ones. I mean,
No, but did you go see The Boogeyman because they said we should see The Boogeyman?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was under the impression that you just been.
No. If you look at the timeline of messages, it's like the night before you suggested them, and then the next day I'm like, I'm not doing anything this morning. I'm going to the movies.
Yeah. All right. So you just go because I sent it. You didn't say anything, and then you were like, seen it. And I was like, okay, I guess we're watching The Boogeyman.
Did I not say I'm seeing Boogeyman right now?
I don't think so. No. Or maybe you did, but you'd be like, usually if I was talking to a normal person, they would be like, yeah, we could do The Boogeyman. Do you want to do The Boogeyman? I'm like, yeah, okay. It's like, okay, I'll go see it today. Not just be like, do you want to see these movies? And you're like, I'm already there. Rock and roll.
I thought we were going to do all of them because we were like, when I first suggested we do multiple ones, you were like, could do 2. And I was like, I could do 4.
I thought
and then you sent me 2 movies. I'm like, well, there's 2.
Yeah.
So I thought I was going to see both of them.
I thought it was a good idea, and then I realized I had less time this week than I thought I did because I didn't realize I'd have to be at the theater at like midday every fucking day. I thought I'd get there at like 6:30. Anyways, I made it work. I went to the movies at the theater before the run to watch the movies.
Now,
to watch the movie.
Let's talk Boogeyman.
So I did my intro. It was kind of like that when sometimes you're like, I'm going a little harder than I need to go just to be funny. I was going a lot nicer than I needed to go.
I felt that.
I didn't think it was a good movie, but it was an hour and a half. So, I wasn't bored, I guess.
I don't know if that's a good metric to judge it on, because then like a 1 minute movie, you're like, yeah, it was $17 and it was dog shit, but it was only 1 minute.
That's true. Wait, before we do anything, what context should you say this film in? So we can tell people if they should go watch it.
We're definitely going to do that in the future.
I know.
Um,
Do people need to watch this movie before they watch this episode?
No, you know what? If you've seen any horror, any sort of generic-y horror in the last 15 years, you've seen this movie, you've seen a better version, and you've seen a worse version as well. It's just, the worst version is just, the dialogue's clunkier, and it's shot worse, and the beats are slightly more poorly timed, but it's not that much worse. It's cheaper. But this is just, it's so fucking bland. It's so fucking bland. And it's a horror movie. All it has to do is scare you efficiently. And it's so fucking bland.
The best horror moment in this entire movie was the trailer for Insidious 3. When I was sitting there, I was like, that looks scary. I should go watch that. I know it's not a great film, but it's better than this fucking shit.
But that, it's in the vein of all those. If it came out 10 years ago, people would kind of be like more like, oh, okay.
You reckon? I thought this was shit for like even 10 years ago.
I think it would have been more forgiven 10 years ago. It's very in the vein of like your Insidious and that other one that had the lawnmower scare that was the only good bit. Ethan Hawke, Frustrated Writer. It came out at the same time, and it's another one of those stupid one-word titles. Like Insidious, nefarious, scarious,
dead.
But there was just a slate of the Nun, all the Conjuring spin-offs that aren't Conjuring movies, like all those ones, they're all the same. It's the setup, the ookie pookie thing, the family with the tragedy, blah, blah, blah. The noise, the parents don't believe anyone who, it's like either the wife hears it and the husband and the kids don't believe her, or the kid hears it and another kid believes it, but they don't know. It's just always, no one really believes them, even though you could easily just sit in a room and prove it. And
then the protagonist has to go and fight the thing.
And it spirals up to the big fucking confrontation.
The people who didn't believe them come in at the last minute to help them. So then everybody believes.
Yeah, we all believe. Everyone in the family or everyone involved in the house believes, but the wider world will never believe them, so the monster will go on living in.
I don't think you need to watch this movie.
Nah.
It's not worth your time. And you can watch this episode without watching the movie.
You've seen it. If you've watched any horror movies, you've seen this. You've like a generic, not like The Exorcist or Hereditary, the really good ones that stand out as good horror movies. Yeah. If you've seen a generic, anything of the Saws after Saw 1, you've seen it. Yeah. Like, you know what this movie... Maybe not the Saws, because they're just gore porn.
Yeah, even at least Saw every now and again, you're like, that's gross. This is just like...
That's gross. Like, it's shit in a different way. These are the ookie pookie, like a force from another dimension. You know what was the worst thing about this, I think? In a big pile of things that they did really averagely was the scariest thing of all these movies when it's like a demonic force, some sort of biblical thing, a monster from somewhere, for 1,000 years it's been asleep, but we dug up a thing and now it's back. We read from the book and now we've summoned it because we spoke in Latin. All the Cabin in the Woods stuff. The Cabin in the Woods where they go in the bay, all the different bullshit you can summon a thing with where they're making fun of those tropes. Any of those movies, the scary thing is you don't know what it is and you don't know how it works.
Yeah.
It's always like the two options you have are the Terminator or It Follows, the unstoppable thing. Like no matter what you do, it's going to come for you. Or it's the unknowable thing of like, we don't know what it is. We don't know where it is. Jeepers Creepers.
Yep.
What the fuck is that? We don't know what it is. We don't know. And you see it at the end. It gets revealed and it's not really that scary anymore. It's kind of deadly and scary because it's stronger than people or smarter than people or can go through walls or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you got to fight it. But the scariest thing of all those movies is what goes bump in the night. What is the thing under the bed? But you see it in like the second scene. You're like, okay, so it's just a weird fucking four-legged spider.
The guy paints it and I'm like, oh, it's the thing from Stranger Things.
Yeah, it's just...
And it's not new. It's like, it's a spider?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Also, why is the boogeyman a spider? I thought it was going to be a boogeyman. That was the whole point. It's meant to be like eerie.
Yeah, boogabug.
Can you put your coffee on this side? Because my VR headset is down by there and your arms really fucking go when you get heated.
Do you want me to just tip it on then we don't have to think about it anymore? Or did it be done?
I think that'll be it. Then I can at least focus on the boogeyman.
I'll just finish it.
Now you're a man.
You know what else?
What?
It looks shit. It's CG. Stop doing
sucked.
shit CG. How am I supposed to be scared of something that looks like it's a fucking cutscene from a video game? Do a practical effect or something. It looks so fucking just shiny.
Yeah.
Well,
And it like opens its mouth and something comes out. I was like, ugh.
yeah.
You know, there was some horror movies recently that we watched. I watched something with you, but it followed those same tropes, but it changed your expectations of what a jump scare would be. Like you're like, oh, here's where the jump scare happens, and then it doesn't happen, and then it happens somewhere else. Like it's hard to place a jump scare well. This one, they did the jump scares exactly where you thought they would be.
There's a jump scare and the cat scare. There's the old cat scare where it's like the classic one that every one of these movies does is teenage girl goes to the fridge. We have the shot, the fridge door opens. We see her looking in the fridge and we see the inside of the fridge door.
Yep.
And we're like, here it comes. And then she shuts the door and it's the brother or someone there being like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you up so late? Why are you up so late? What do you mean? I'm getting some milk.
Some milk.
I'm having a drunk of milk.
Yeah,
that one. And then they go around the corner and then there's actually a thing like the light bulb explodes or a door shuts off its own accord.
They did all them. And it was, I can't remember exactly what they were and when they were, but I just remember being like, here it comes. And it wasn't the here it comes. Oh, no, that's a cat scare. And there's a jump scare. It was like, here it comes. I knew which one it was going to be and when it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And at no point, I never jumped.
It's so in the dead center of the formula. It's like a fucking slot car. It's just on the track, just doing the thing. Like there's nowhere else it can go. It's doing the formula perfectly to a T. Like we're attuned to it. We've seen so many horror movies now. Not we, like as a society. The genre of Western horror has gone into this like narrow blockbuster horror thing where it's like this is the formula of those movies and it sits right in the middle of them.
But even like bad horror movies like Smile, I didn't like Smile, but I still, all the jump scares kind of, there's one where they're sitting in a car and she's like, oh, hold on, wait. And it's a long shot of her walking towards the car and she gets to the window of the car and you could just see her torso and then her head goes brrr, and it comes down the window, which just sort of came out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, that was good. That got me. And it was terrifying. And
but all you have to do for that, because it's not driven by the plot or the characters or anything, really. It's just, you just have to go, okay, where are they expecting it? And what shot are they expecting to see it happen in? And let's do it in a different one. All you do is subvert the expectations and have something ooky pooky happen.
well, why couldn't the Boogeyman do that?
I don't know. That's why it's so bad, because it's so right in the middle of the fucking formula. Like
Fucking blue.
there's the shitty monster. They reveal it way too early. The other thing, the shitty CGI makes it look shit. There was something earlier you said about, what did you say?
Stephen Hawking drowned himself to death. Swam himself to death.
Something else.
Oh, fucking hell. It's the Boogeyman.
He's here.
Speaking of the Boogeyman, you know my favorite scene in the whole film? Oh my God. You know my favorite scene in the whole film was when the mother of the first family who got hit by the Boogeyman. There's two families who got hit by the Boogeyman, everybody. First family where you learn all the lore from, and then the family you're watching currently.
Yeah.
But the first family, the mother is still alive, and she's walking around her spooky house with candles that has no power except for the powered lights that have to be plugged into a wall socket. Anyways, she's got a shotgun, and she's like, we didn't believe them. And they just kept calling it, the kids, they called it the Boogeyman. And I was like, you've never heard of the Boogeyman before?
The Boogeyman?
Yeah, like she said it as if the kids made up the Boogeyman.
Yeah.
And I'm like, everybody knows what the Boogeyman is.
They said this guy was coming down our chimney once a year. They called him Santa Claus.
Well, it's like that.
Yeah.
It's like they made a horror movie where Santa's the horror villain, but then they have to make everybody in the world not know who Santa is.
But then in every zombie movie, they're like, yeah, the undead are like walking around now. It's like weird. Like they die, but then they come back and they just want to eat heads.
I don't know. It's true. That's true. Yeah. But I just, it hits so bad.
But it's just one phrase that's so well known, yeah.
I was so sure they would never say the actual words the Boogeyman because it's so lame. And then like 30 minutes into the film, I was like, they're going to say the Boogeyman at some point, and it's going to be a big reveal.
I'm surprised they just went with the term Boogeyman. You know, like all these superhero movies, like the Batman movie would just be called like Wayne. And it'll be the new Batman movie, like the Joker one is called Joker.
Oh, this one be called.
And then no, but this one should be like Man of Boogie or something. It would be like
I thought you'd just be like Boogie.
Yeah, it could be Boogie. Yeah,
or
something
Stephen
like that.
King's.
Like they always try and do like a little slant on it, make you think about the name differently. You know,
Yeah.
not think about it in the same way. It's like a different way to think about the name.
The late night It's fucking stupid. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your way better joke. It was going to be.
But it should have been like, Man of Boogie or just Boogie, something like that.
Boogie.
Yeah, the Boogier.
Ooh,
spooky.
Or it'd be like the family name of whatever the family was that was getting terrorized. You're like, wait, what are they from? They're from the Boogeyman.
You know what I would give this credit for though, now that I think about it?
What?
It didn't have the long fucking scene. It kind of had it with the mum of the first house and the dilapidated joint that when she goes back there. It was kind of a long exposition-y scene, but it wasn't anything too like, I found this book in the library. It's an old fucking omen of blah, blah, occult, whatever from Nazi Germany. And it's all in German, but I translated it and it says that, this man of boogie comes once every month and he shows up and blah, blah, blah. And, and then it's it's a Nordic tradition and I lifted up the carpet and I found these weird symbols and that must have brought him. She didn't do the long exposition of this is where he comes from, the origin story of Man of Boogie.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. It's fucking weird. Like you close a cupboard and out he comes.
She did say like he comes for families that are struck by grief.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how she knew that.
Because of research, because she got on candles.
But she's got to be the only one.
Yeah, well, the whole thing's a bit fucking stupid.
Yeah.
So
I
think that it's part and parcel.
I'll give it credit for the lack of like exposition at the start instead of being like, my mom died. I know they did a bit of the mom died, but she was in the cupboard. She was smelling. She was like, she went in. She grabbed someone else's clothes and smelled them. I was like, all right, someone close to her has died. And they walk out and there's a painting that the mum has done of her in the same dress. And I was like, oh, the mum's dead. That was pretty light exposition considering
that
how
is the
shit
thing I was
the
going to
rest
say
of the
earlier.
movie
They kind of like, blah, 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 blah. Dead family, like they never explained really that was a car accident, I think, with the mum. Because I wasn't at the accident, the dad says at some point. They're just like, dead mum, blah, 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 blah. Like they just skip all the other stuff. You know what happens here. Dead mum, blah, 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 thing in the cupboard. They do the prologue with the baby, which is like, when it's killing the girl at the end, it's sucking her soul out and stuff.
Yeah.
But when it kills the baby, she's like, and then blood on the photo. It's like, what is she? Is it a shark? What is this?
It just changes. It's like, I feel like snapping necks today.
Yeah, Boogeyman is a samurai.
Yeah. In that first scene as well, that was another way they could do exposition where the scene, it opens with a baby crying and a baby's about to get attacked by the Boogeyman, and the Boogeyman comes in, cuts the baby or does something. It like shows the baby, pans off to a photo. And in the photo, you see the family, and the dad
a splatter of blood goes on the photo.
The dad of the family is a very recognizable actor. I don't know who he is, but he's in like Charlie's Angels. That's what I know him from. You know the guy. What's the guy?
It's Crispin Glover. He's
Sorry,
not Charlie's
no,
Angel.
but this guy, I know this guy.
Yeah.
And he has a recognizable face, and then they can bring him back later on. You're like, hey, it's the
Remember
dad of that
face?
family.
You know what they should have done with that scene?
What?
Instead of showing it from the baby's room, just the parents in bed trying to sleep, and it's like 2 a.m. and the baby's like, wah, wah. They're like, oh my God, your turn. No, it's your turn. I went yesterday. I'm not. Just let him cry himself. Oh, thank God. He's tucking himself out. And they go in the next morning and find bits.
Absolute bits and pieces.
Who put blood on this photo? Did you put blood on this photo? Oh my God.
You know, it's weird that they went 3 years of this shit happening to them. Like they said, one of our kids died every year on the same year, like the same moment.
And then the first one, it just gave the kids SIDS apparently. Oh no, that would have been, and then the agree thing, and then two of them died real quick. They just can SIDS, Doc. I thought I'd come because you understand. Can SIDS snap a baby's neck?
I don't think so.
Damn it.
You want to check WebMD?
Well, it must have been this drawing that I brought with me then that did it. And what was with it? Just chucked the drawing on the floor and then the rug got grimy.
I feel like I'm having a stroke right now because I didn't understand a bunch of the words you just said.
I was all over the place.
What photo?
So he brought that. Remember, he drew it. My kid drew it. Also,
hold on.
So he brings the photo of like, my kid drew this for me. This was the monster.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah,
remember? And then he leaves that in the house.
Yep.
First of all,
where does he leave it in the house?
If two of his kids had died, they probably would be looking at him a little bit more closely than like, where's the guy, the cops? Where's the guy whose both of his kids' necks got snapped? I don't know. We stopped. He said he didn't do it, so he's off doing whatever he wants.
Oh, you're saying he can like wander around and it's like, why?
He's not like, I mean, maybe I guess they did the investigation. Like, well, his fingerprints aren't on the kid's throat, so. And then
he doesn't have a throat anymore.
And then that guy hangs himself in the dad's Where was the dad the whole movie? He just floats in and out whenever it's convenient.
Also, when that guy kills himself,
Yeah.
the guy who comes to we'll go through the plot, doesn't matter. He comes in and kills himself, but he goes through the mum's painting studio and bashes the shit out of it.
Is that him,
Before
or
he-
is he having a fight with the thing from Stranger Things?
Is he? I don't know.
Well, I don't know why he would do that.
That's true. I never thought about that.
Because he has the weird thing downstairs when he's in the room. When he's on his own, he's like, shut that door. And then the guy goes, I just need to go and call the cops for a
when
second.
the door opens, yeah.
And he's like, ah! And then
So
for
maybe
some reason, he walks upstairs. It makes no fucking sense at all now that I think about it. Because he has the in the room. And then you see him walking up the stairs, like his legs going up the stairs while the dad's in the kitchen. You see the like shadow of him up the stairs. So he had a fight, and then is he possessed? The fuck's going on?
Maybe. So I always thought he killed himself. Did he not kill himself? The thing hung him.
I think the thing hung him.
So instead of sucking his face out as well, he
That doesn't make any
'cause
sense.
he said, the mum said when it killed the kids, she said when it killed the kids, it sucked the life out of them. She said it wasn't normal. It was like it sucked the life out of them. But we saw it go,
Yeah.
and we saw it hang the dad.
And also the dad says, it snapped my kids' necks.
Yeah. But he's only got 3 kids and one's already dead of SIDS. So that one's done.
That's the other 2.
Yeah.
They died within quick succession, he said.
But she said my kids, it wasn't normal.
No.
She was referring to her kids' deaths, not normal. It was like it sucked the life out of them. And
Yeah.
then also says it got slashed. And then he says what he said.
Broke the
fucking
necks,
neck.
yeah.
So there's how many kids do these people have? Fucking liars.
Well, it's only 2. They said the 2 died in...
Yeah, but they've talked about 4 different deaths at this point.
No, I know. What I'm saying is it's poorly written. And it's they're not paying attention to what they wrote on the page before the one they're writing. So he gets hanged up there.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember why I was talking about this now. We were saying about the guy, he's downstairs. Oh,
So he gets possessed.
I'm talking about how he's like, no one's paying attention to what this guy whose kids have all died is doing. And then he goes upstairs and hangs himself. And then the cops are there and there's like, you see him all walking around. And then the detectives, talking to the dad. And then they go into the office where he was and they just left the book. Wouldn't that be evidence? Or the voicing? Like, yeah, this whole conversation I had with him, that's we're not going to need that at all.
No, because the daughter needs it later for plot points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they just... And then she goes, hop, and throws it.
And it's fine.
Yeah.
So I don't know why she threw it in the water if it's fine. I don't understand that. That felt like it was going to be
because
fine.
that we needed a way for her to not be listening to it anymore.
Of course.
She was not interested in whatever happened. That seemed like it was getting exactly to the bit that you should be listening to.
Yeah.
Like what happened after he went, what? And Dad left the office. I don't know. Whatever.
So something else. So fuck it. The story that opens, we see the first family A. We'll call the main family.
Prologue
the
family.
that.
Oh, okay, okay.
It makes more sense to do it that way, but for some reason, I want to say family A is the main family we follow.
Yeah, okay.
And family B is the old family that we've. So we watch family B's last kid die, and we cut to family A, and family A are telling us through pretty okay exposition.
If your kid, one dies of SIDS, tragedy.
Family
the
B.
second one gets its throat slash neck
Life
snapped.
sucked out of its fucking head.
Have the third kid sleep in your room.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how because they were like, we knew something was up.
Yeah,
And,
no, we didn't believe him until it was too late.
Yeah.
So, all right, third kid dead. You know what? I just feel like maybe they were right.
Yeah. Also, the monster took kind of the form of the dad. Like the boogeyman seems to like sometimes
a bit the mom and a bit the dad sometimes.
but not when it's fighting family A. When it's fighting family A, it's totally just a monster.
No, because the mum, when she went to the basement, the daughter, so our protagonist goes down to the basement. The dad's like, take this shit down to the basement if you don't want me throwing it out. She's like, fine. Damn it, the light doesn't work. She goes downstairs and then she sees her mum, like an apparition of her mum. But it's kind of spooky mum, not real mum. And then a jump scare happens.
Our mums are spookier than spooky mum.
Or do you think that was actual mum because actual mum
I
helps
don't
her
know.
out? I don't
Yeah.
think it was because...
I took it as
was
actual
too
mum, and
spooky.
nothing weird happened. She kind of was like happy about seeing her mum. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And the mum does come back later in ghost form. So
The problem is his protagonists are so fucking stupid.
yeah, the only decent character was the tiny little kid. She made me laugh multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that kid was hilarious. Especially when she's just sitting there playing PlayStation and then
In total darkness.
yeah, she's a legend. So we follow family A, and it's been some time since the mum's died, and now the daughter is going to school. And she is friends with the worst people on planet Earth. She's at her locker, and her friend, who used to be her friend but is now kind of friends with cooler people, but they're all sort of friends.
The mean girls, quote
Yeah,
unquote.
so the daughter of family A likes one of the girls in the friend group and then puts up with the friend group. But someone in the friend group is quite nasty. The blonde girl comes over and, she's wearing her mum's dress. And she's like, oh, I like your dress. Like, there's a nice dress. She goes, yeah, it was my mum's. And then blonde girl says, is that such a good idea? She's like, what do you mean? Like, isn't it going to make it really hard to move on? And she's like, I don't want to move on, which is a totally fine response. And then, well, she's just like,
I think both of those sides are fine. Yeah.
But like, I don't think the blonde girl should be having any input in this girl's fucking grief and being like, and she wasn't saying it like I just want to.
This is the thing. Like,
sure
I think
you're
if you
okay.
say it differently, it's not a terrible thing. It's like, is that are you just sort of like immersing yourself into too much? Also, do we know how long it's been? Like, was it Friday and she's back Monday?
It's pretty.
Like, get over it.
I think it's
like,
pretty rare because she's coming back to school for the first time.
Is it like a month or something? Because there's something in there where the dad says, it's been a month and they're going back to school, I think.
Either way, it's her first day back at school, and everyone else has been like, "Hey, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
And she says something like, "I don't want to move on." Like I don't think she calls her a bitch. She says something to her.
Yeah.
And the blonde girl's like, "What the
Fuck did you say to me?"
Yeah.
I'm like, just give the girl some room. Her mum's dead.
She was
For
annoying
fuck's
though.
sake.
Because she's walking up the stairs with her headphones in and everyone's like, hey, sorry, baby, mum. You can't really hear because she's got the headphones in and we got the music coming in diegetically. And she's like, hey, sorry, baby, mum. Everyone's like, not everyone, but like every third student's like, oh, hey, sorry, baby, mum.
Yeah.
And she's not listening or acknowledging anyone, which is fine. But then she gets to the locker and her other friend comes up. She's like, oh, hey, how you doing? She's like, yeah, thanks for talking to me. Everyone else is just like treating me like a
Everyone
weirdo.
else is staring at
Everyone's staring at me. It's like, yeah, because you got your headphones and you can't hear them, you fuckwit. Like, they're all going like, hey, really sorry about your
Her
mum.
mum's dead.
Yeah, but don't lie. Don't fucking victimize yourself further and be like, yeah, everyone's just looking at me like I'm a frake. They're not. They're saying, sorry for your loss. Like any normal person would.
But I was pictured as if these people don't usually talk to her. And now they're coming up to her.
But they're not staring at her like she's a freak. They're saying, hey. And they're not coming up to her just as they're passing like, oh, hey, sorry about your mum.
Yeah.
You want to stop? Hey, take your earphones out. Hey, I'm really sorry, but grab a seat. Grab a seat. Sit down. No, you're going to sit down. We're going to talk about this. Like, what does she want?
I don't know. I always thought that the blonde girl is just so unbelievably nasty.
sucks.
And not how like any high school nasty person would actually be. Because later on in the plot, she pushes her into a fucking cupboard in her own house.
Don't they say, though, that like the door just shut, we couldn't get it open?
No, because she pushes her in
She
first.
pushes her and then the door won't let her out. Okay.
Which is a very odd thing to do.
Yeah, I don't know what the fucking point of that
Yeah,
is.
she's a fucking psychopath. Anyway, so they have a push and a shove, and the blonde girl forces her into pressing some old food against her and fucking up her dress.
Do it. Put the yogurt on your dress or else.
And
Forces
then,
her into it.
And then she starts no, you know what I mean. She like pushes her and makes her. And then the blonde girl starts laughing.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my God.
I was trying to give it credit then. I was like, I guess it's like a...
You are the blonde girl. I think that's
no,
the problem.
No, it's like that teenage thing of like, it's so awkward. You're like, they don't know what to do in that situation. They don't know how to filter the awkwardness. So she just laughs because she's kind of maladjusted and a bit of a cunt.
She was a bit of a cunt.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she goes home and fucking Boogeyman ensues. I don't even care about the plot anymore.
No.
I'm fucking bummed
We
out.
don't need to explain it. You know what it is. There's a prologue where we see the monster kill a family. Then it just fucks off into this new family for no real reason.
Yeah.
Besides grief. And then the horror movie 1 happens.
So the little girl's
horror movie 1A.
The little girl's the first in family A. Little girl is the first one to notice the Boogeyman.
Yeah.
So, anyways, family B, the dad from family B comes to family A because family A's dad is a psychologist, and he's like, "No one else believes me. I need to see a psychologist."
Yeah, you see a random psychologist at his house without making an appointment.
And he sits down. He goes, "No." He's like, "The reason I came here is because your wife's dead."
Yeah, that's right.
And I thought you would understand. And he was like, and through the whole movie, by drilling it as fucking hard as they fucking can, sorry everybody, family A's dad is not ready to talk about his wife being dead, which they make so fucking clear. They have all the like light exposition. They're really making it clear that he's not ready to talk about it.
Yeah, it's that scene where she's like, he's in the art studio, some banging, which is where the original dad A hung himself. The guy showed up at their house. She's like, oh my God, what's going on? Is it happening again? What is it? And then her dad is just hauling out all the possessions. I'm like, I've cleared out this whole room in a matter of about 18 seconds. He's like, what do you mean? What about all Mom's stuff? I'm going out to the yard to set it all on fire. She's dead to us. Get over it. Dad, I don't want to get over. I'm not over. Who put this stuff in her room?
Who put holes in my belts? Who put these holes in my belts?
Dad, it's our mom. We got to grieve her. That's what it's for. Not in my house. Yeah.
Did you get ice cream? Dad, I thought you were on a business trip. Well, you should know my skin. The guy who comes to do the psychology session, the dad, I thought hung himself in their house, but he had a fight with the monster.
He's hanged. I don't think it's ever explained. It's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's all who gives a fuck.
So now more police have come, and I think that's the extra bit of grief that forces the boogeyman onto family A. By having the mum die, having all this shit happen, and then finally some random hangs themselves in their house, and now the boogeyman starts possessing or starts showing up to the little girl, and the little girl has to go through. They're at their own. The daughters are at a psychologists trying to help the little girl get over her fear of the dark, but she needs that fear of the dark because guess who's in the dark? The boogeyman, because the boogeyman doesn't like light. Ever heard of a horror movie villain that doesn't like light before, Ben?
What?
That's such a new idea.
Cool.
Yeah. So a lot of shit happens, and then in the end, she's like, you know what? I got to do something about this. You know what's really fucked? So the way they learn that they're going to fight the boogeyman is the mum, who's the last surviving person of family B, and they met up at some point in the movie. Who fucking cares? But she's like, she calls the daughter. Don't know how she got her number. Calls the daughter of family A and says,
because the daughter wrote it on the fridge.
Of course, I'm a fucking idiot. She calls her and goes, I've worked it out.
That's so fucking stupid.
We can kill this thing. Just come here now and we'll kill this thing.
How?
So daughter of family A fucks off because she's had a fight with the dad. She's worried. The boogeyman's already attacked her little sister.
Would you not? I've worked out how to kill it. Sweet, because it's at my house now. How would you kill it? Come over. No, tell me how we're going to kill it, and then I can do it at my house. You can do it at your house. We'll double team this thing.
Don't worry about it.
Nah, come over. Bring some handcuffs, please.
Bring some handcuffs. So daughter A goes off on her own to this just fucking terrifying living situation where they've already been there, but the mother has like just candles.
What is the mum doing
all through the fucking house?
What's she doing during the day? Like, do some dishes.
Clean up a little.
Yeah.
She didn't care. Her kid,
You've got company coming over. You've just called her and told her to come over.
She's getting the zip ties ready.
That's right.
So they go there and she's like, we can kill this thing. Don't you worry. I'm going to guide you into this room. Ba-boom! And she hits her and zip ties her to the fucking wall and says, I'm sorry. You're going to be okay. I just need to use you as bait. And she's like, are you fucking serious? Uses her as bait. The boogeyman comes in. She set up all these buckshot traps all around the room, and it just lights the boogeyman up with ammo. And then she decides not to also light it up with her shotgun ammo that she's holding on to.
No, she shoots it a couple times.
Yeah, but after it's already, I thought she would just do it at the same time, just be like bang, bang, bang. Anyways, boogeyman hits the floor. She goes up, puts a couple shots at him. We think he's dead. It's only been an hour and 10 minutes. He can't be dead. Yeah, he's not dead.
What?
Well, he comes back.
But she shot it with all of her guns.
And does she kill the boogeyman then? Or does the boogeyman kill the mum? Yeah, so the boogeyman
rips her in half.
Goes after the mum, rips her to pieces, and the daughter runs.
I mean, I assume it was such terrible CGI. I don't really know.
Daughter runs off, goes back to her own house, and the boogeyman then has taken the dad and the little sister down into the basement. Mm-hmm. And she decides, I'm going to fight this thing. And you know what I'm going to fight her with? Hockey stick.
That's right. I forgot about the fucking hockey stick.
She just watched
a 12-gauge shotgun do fuck all.
And a bunch of other fucking buckshots around the room. And she's like, it's fucking hockey time. Yeah. Get your skates on. So, yeah.
And weirdly, she goes downstairs and the hockey stick does fuck all. Who would have thought? She goes down in the dark where this thing thrives.
Yeah.
And
fucking
Blind.
look at you,
Yeah.
look at you, fuck. Yeah, when the daughter, the little sister, has like Christmas lights wrapped around her, so she's like the light source, which is such a fucking dumb idea.
All this thing does all movie is blow globes.
Yeah, but
So
also,
it's just gonna blow all the light globes. Like, I don't know why they're relying on these fucking light globes. Hockey stick doesn't even go downstairs with a light. She just grabs the hockey stick.
true,
and,
yeah.
Hello?
And at this point, she's already worked out that you need to be in the light.
Yeah.
If you're in the light, you're okay.
And constantly in the movie, she's walking past lights that go,
Yeah.
get blown. She's like, wait, what the?
And I know the movie's been pretty unrealistic from the get-go, but the little,
I guess it has.
she finds the little sister hiding in a cupboard, and she says, "It took Dad down the stairs, down into the basement."
With lights that go on and off constantly. They're flashing Christmas lights. They go. So it's like,
But
what's
also-
the time, Mr. Wolf?
They're just Christmas lights.
Yeah.
And she's like, somehow they're long enough to get her down into the basement, walking around shit. And that means the power source is going up the stairs, up into the cupboard where she was. And she's got it wrapped around her a few times. I know Christmas lights are long, but have you ever tried to unwrap some fucking Christmas lights? She would walk 2 meters and go clunk. Oh, there's a knot.
And step on a light bulb.
Yeah. And eventually, of course, she does pull it.
When it's convenient.
Yeah,
for the
and
narrative.
it unplugs after she's walked around the house 40 times and gone down to the basement. And she's like, shit, now I'm out of thing.
Oh, I should have brought any fucking light down here. Damn it.
We'd have a torch in a drawer or a fucking lighter or, I don't know, a phone, anything.
LED, can't blow those fuckers.
So she goes down there and then the lights pull and it knocks over a can of
Like acetone.
terps or some fucking shit that'll clearly light on fire. And you're like, okay, it's going to die.
So you noticed that. You noticed when that knocked over, did you?
And I'm like,
Because it was so subtle when it went fink, clunk, and they did a
I can't wait. You probably make the noise better. There we go. So, yeah, it's going to die with fire. And I was like, fucking of course.
You know what's crazy? That stupid fucking mum from the other house was like, got to stay in the light, can't come in the light. Light. Shotgun. What?
Well, because when the shotgun went off, it goes flash.
Very quickly does flash. Yeah.
Because the next idea was, we'll take photos. Give us sultry. Give us sexy.
This is sultry.
Give us surprise. That'd have been a better. I would have liked that. You fucking hate me today.
Dumb.
You hate me so much. So
They're downstairs.
the dad's
Climax.
the
useless fucking dad who just traipses in and out of their lives whenever.
he does stab it in the neck and then it throws him into a wall and he snaps his leg in such a fucking
Yeah.
fucked way.
Oh, that's right. My right leg's made of warm cheese. I forgot.
And it goes and he's like, oh shit. But then somehow he manages to hobble and he's not hopping. He is putting weight on one foot and going. And it's like one of them skateboard videos where someone goes, my leg's broke. And it's like fucking hanging like that, but he's putting weight on and hobbling around.
Well, that's because of the love of his children inspiring him.
Fucking, if he loved his children, he would be around.
Yeah.
He works from home and somehow he's never home.
I remember thinking in one of the scenes, like it's nighttime and they're having all these scares and like neither of the kids are ever like, Dad. They just go to each other's rooms all the time. And then I'm like, where the fuck is his dad? And then the next scene that he shows up is like 20 minutes later and he's just cleaning out the mum's art room in the attic. He's like, yeah, I'm getting rid of all this shit. We got to get over it. Fuck her. We hate her now. Loneliness is my new wife. And they're like, oh, here he is. Where was he? They don't have dinner together or anything. He just shows up and he's just upstairs cleaning out the room.
Yeah.
Wild shit. The dynamic of that family, the layout of that house, and the sequence of time in that film make no fucking sense to me.
I could not work out where I thought at one point I was like, oh, I get it. It's like a Shining thing where you can't quite work out.
It wasn't meant
and
to
I was
be.
like, they're not that smart.
No,
they're not doing like a eerie sort of. They just haven't worked out their shots.
no.
They're like switching the cameras on every time.
As far as I can tell, the dad doesn't have a bedroom.
No.
He must just sleep prostrate in the hallway or sits on the couch.
But then the living room they're in is not the same living room where the little girl was playing PlayStation. So when she was there playing PlayStation, I could not work out where the fuck she was.
I think that's the one right near the front door. And I think if you walk through to the kitchen-y area, there's another dining-y, lounge room-y area. But again, I don't really know.
Pretty sure there's a playground.
The upstairs is the bit that really confuses me.
Yeah. Because they're all upstairs living, right? But also the mum's paint studio's upstairs.
But is that because remember when she's upstairs, she sees upstairs again, but then the paint comes out of that? Because there was an attic, and I'm like, shit's gonna go down in the attic. But she looks at the stairs going up to the attic from upstairs, and then the paint's come out from under the door. I thought that was the only cool thing in that movie where it looked like blood.
Yeah.
Then the rest of the paint came. I was like, that's clever. That's probably from the Stephen King short story because I feel like they must have got rid of everything else from that.
Is it a short story?
Very, very short. It's one word, Boogeyman. Very scary.
Pulitzer Prize.
Pulitzer.
Sorry. They kill it with fire, you guys. They throw fire on it, it dies.
That's about what that deserves. How long have we been going? Are we done with this fucking movie?
Yeah, we're almost done. Whole house burns down, so they also get to finally let go of their mum. Oh, the mum. The mum's ghost comes back.
That's right.
Because through the whole movie, she's been trying to talk to her mum. We haven't even mentioned that.
That would be a Stephen King thing as well. That's very Stephen King, that thing.
We haven't mentioned it once because it's such a weak plot point, but a couple of times throughout the movie, she's like Googling how to talk to the dead. And then she's like, there's a thing about like, talk to the lighter and be like, if you're here, move the flame to the left, move the flame to the left, move the flame to the left. And she can never get it to go. And then right when the thing's about to kill her, the flame's like pointing towards like fucking terps or some shit.
Yeah.
And they cover it in terps and kill it.
I feel like there's a better way to do that rather than just like. Have you ever tried to shake liquid out of like one of those types of containers? It goes nowhere.
Yeah.
There's no way it would have made the 1.5 meters to the monster.
Yeah. Also, they start by using a spray can flame thing.
Yeah,
and the
aerosol.
reason they give them the aerosol is because the little girl in the cupboard has it.
Mm.
And I don't think that's such a useful tool. I think they just put it in her hands to be like, we can use that later.
Yeah, that'll come up.
Yeah.
She's the backpack.
Shit movie. Just a fucking shit movie, to be honest.
Yeah, it wasn't shit enough to be like, oh, this is a really shit movie. There was clearly a lot of drama behind the scenes and very low budget and a poorly unskilled team. It was slick enough that you're like, these people kind of know what they're doing. They've made this movie.
Yeah.
And all the pieces are there. They're just so fucking rounded off.
And it's so like you said, like just down the middle.
It couldn't be more. It's like a
there's going to be a good chunk of people who are like, I thought it was good.
Yeah.
Which just enrages me beyond. It makes my tummy warm.
Is how I feel all the time when we talk about these movies. It's if you got a chat GPT to write a horror movie.
It could write a better horror movie than that, for sure.
Maybe not in its current form. Chat 4. Chat 5 though. Who knows?
But it could write a first draft.
I remember watching it when it started and the baby died and I was like, this doesn't bode well. And then
You didn't like that opening scene?
nah, it was just like a monster in the cupboard. I mean, I kind of knew that's what it was going to be, but there was nothing. The prologue, you can do whatever you want. You're not bound by anything you've already written.
Yeah.
That's the start. You get to be entirely creative with how you juice up the audience for like, this is what's coming.
It's like it could be its own like short story. It doesn't have to connect to the plot. You could have had the boogeyman attack anybody.
Yeah.
And then just move on to something new.
I think it's good that it's like they're going to bring that family back later. That's fine.
I know, but like you said, you're not limited at all. You're only limited by what you want to be limited by.
You can show that in any way you want, and it's just a baby yelling, and then the fucking blood on the photo. Like, my God, you're constrained by nothing, and that's what you choose.
Not very much blood either.
No.
You know what I always think about? When it like has her face, right? And it's sucking shit out of her face. It's sucking like black strings. It's kind of like the dementors. It's like sucking stuff out of her.
Yeah.
And it's coming out of her eyes and her nose and everything. It's going into the thing. The thing is sucking it up. And it's sucking the shit out of her. Yeah. It's sucking her. It is consuming her life. And then the dad comes and stabs it in the neck. But she's already lost a bit of
The
life.
juices go.
Yeah, but that never happens. It just sort of stops. I'm like, is she okay? Because I thought about that when I watched that third Harry Potter film when I was younger. I was like, is Harry okay? Because it came through and and he's going, ah.
It's like when you cut and paste a folder from one thing to another. When you cut and paste a file from one folder to another, if you cancel, then it goes and goes all back to the original file location.
Yeah.
So it was a drag and drop. It was an incomplete drag and drop. That was, Matt.
I always imagine it like sending a JPEG through like Facebook.
Sending a what?
A JPEG through
okay.
Facebook. And like each time you send it, it gets compressed a little bit more. So I imagine that like they're just losing a bit, and you just, Harry started at 200 megabytes and now he's at 120 megabytes. And I'm like, he's only got so many megabytes left before he's dead. And is she ill now? Is she going to be okay?
She's fine.
Is she going to go to the hospital and be like, her immune system's dog shit. We don't know why. And I said, the boogeyman. I don't want to explain. Some guy sucks the shit out of her.
Also, her eye grey levels are way down. They're like 70%. We like to see like a 98 to a 99% grey ooze in the eyes. Was there ever anything recently? Do you remember her maybe having some grey sucked out of her eyes?
Oh, you know what? I do remember that. I have a memory of some grey coming out.
Yeah, did you have like a weird like four-legged spider in a basement or anything? Did you notice her playing with that?
I believe we did. I can't be sure, but I think so, yeah.
That can happen. Did grey CGI ooze come out of her nose and mouth as well?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. We know what that is.
All right.
That's,
is that normal?
She's going to die very young.
Oh, could she take anything?
Cyanide?
She take Nurofen?
She can. She can absolutely take Nurofen.
Yeah,
it won't help.
Just make sure she has something to eat before.
It won't help with this at all.
Because her grey's been sucked out.
She can take it. You can't stop her taking it.
Yeah.
But it's not going to help. It'll do nothing.
No. You know what? This film kind of feels like it had 30% of its grey sucked out. Thank you guys so much for watching that episode of the podcast. If you want to support the show, do us a favor. Join us on Patreon. Patreon.com/Bachelors of Art. There's extra content there. There's test episodes that you guys haven't seen. Stuff that you can't get anywhere else. It's cheap and it helps out the show. We'd love to see you there. Thank you so much.